Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crypto City. And now, your host, CityGirl.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Crypto City. Thank you for being with us tonight. Appreciate you coming back on your Monday night. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Welcome to the official start of the holiday season. And we hope that all of you have some great holiday plans coming up. But we appreciate you taking the time right now to come and join us for the show. This week, we just have a couple of new things in the news that I wanted to touch base on. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is having their first ever NFT on an F1 car. Slay the Lightning Azuki is part of the Azuki NFT project and is a commemorative NFT that's free and claimable to anyone on Bybit. This was actually a collaborative effort to create an NFT for the fans, and it was done by Steamboy with Red Bull. And it is just one more way that sports are incorporating NFTs into the mainstream audience now. Actually, in other news last week, we talked a lot about FTX and the little bit of the crash of the exchange there. Clearly, there's going to be some rollout from that, of course, but one group that was impacted was Coachella. They'd actually issued like 10 lifetime passes called Coachella keys that were based on the FTX exchange for currency. There's only 10 of them, and they were valued at about 1.5 million each. And unfortunately, most of the owners didn't do their homework and they didn't move them off of the exchange into their wallet, but one guy did. So this guy who moved it from, the FTX exchange into his wallet, he has access. So when we talk about keeping your digital assets safe, we mean it. Take your assets, put them into a wallet. Don't, I mean, there may be, little assets that you have sitting out on an exchange. If you feel comfortable with that, that's fine. But if you have some valuables, you want to have them protected. You wouldn't take your money and lay it out on the kitchen table, in a restaurant or anywhere else and just walk away from it and leave it there and expect it to be there later. You'd put it in your wallet and you keep it safe. So do the same thing with your assets. It's the smartest way to handle them. So this week, we're going to talk to you a little bit more about NFTs, and I'm going to have you throw up a round of welcome emojis for my co-host, PixelAddikt. Come on up, Pixel, and join us.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Hey City.
Hey, how you doing? Good, thank you for joining us here.
Of course, love it. Love
So
everybody.
we've gone through a lot of stuff with NFTs last week, super exciting stuff. We're really glad to
Yeah.
have topics to talk about with everybody. Everybody kind of associates a little bit with NFTs. They've heard of it a little bit. So, some people are super involved, but it's kind of one of those game levelers for everybody because it's something we can talk about that people are interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it takes there's lots of different types, right? So whether it's just art or fashion or gaming or kind of these ticketing kind of, these NFTs, we'll talk about a lot of people have a lot of different reasons to buy them, to kind of hold them and
Absolutely.
to use them in real life. It's becoming quite it's a new kind of hobby, right? Like looking at OpenSea and going through, you can find some beautiful art. You can find some beautiful collections and support some great artists that are online and now they have their own discords and their own kind of communities that you just you take a look at before you buy, right? Go inside, say what everybody's seeing and what the value is, and you'll see, like, you'll find out, like, tonight we'll talk about some of the utility of these NFTs. So a good place is getting into Discord and looking around the project and seeing what they're offering, besides kind of just some of these art NFTs, these PFPs is just here's a piece of art, here's just a file, right? You know, Maybe hidden files or unlockables or anything that you can do a little extra. So
Hmm. Yes, so utility is going to be, a super exciting topic. We're going to touch on a lot of different things. This is where NFTs become useful. This is where you take your NFT, whether you're using it as a marketing tool or you're just simply using it, maybe not as a business marketing tool, but something fun too. There are fun things that you can do with NFTs, and this is where you actually, take this item and you build into it something that gives back something greater than just the NFT.
Right. And a lot of this before, like you would have these creative people that work in a lot of companies and that, and they would have to come up with a rewards program, right? Like we've heard of this, for the last 10 years or 15 years and different types of thinking and marketing, like you said. So it would take like a developer to code the smart contract to enable certain things like that. And that it goes back to where you take that NFT and maybe you unlock a certain website. Well, now there's platforms, that can create these, token gated kind of areas. So Shopify has certain apps too now where you can create a token gate for an NFT for certain products. So let's say you were doing a launch for Shopify, and you could say, okay, well, this collection's locked down the NFT holders, of my brand, a certain
Okay.
NFT. That's why you can have a big NFT that has a lot of different collections and only have certain utility NFTs within it. It allows you to kind of segment, your whole collection, which is smart.
Interesting. I mean, there's certainly a lot of levels built in there, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see, when they created this initially, the amount of thought that went into this. I mean, this isn't something that somebody popped out and was like, "Hey, look, I found something cool." This is like, let's put some thought process into this to make it as useful as possible.
Sure, well, I'll give you a great example. Okay, this is a great story that, like, from the early days of one of the first NFT collections was the Crypto Kitties. So I don't know who's heard of Crypto Kitties here. Like, couple people of these NFTs, right? See, got some hearts
Mhm.
there. I know. See, so Crypto Kitties are amazing. This was, I was actually at the conference where the guys that created Crypto Kitties, they were first announcing it and first teaching, kind of telling everybody. So like I was so, young and we didn't know, right? Which is kind of and we didn't really buy. I have a few of them right from 2018. So I have some of the early ones, but that was where if you kept those crypto kitties, you could breed them. So that was the first
Yes.
time, honestly, like City. It was the first time where we kind of aha. It was an aha moment where you're like, oh, there now you can have this NFT, you can create something digitally, and now you can have something more valuable. You can breed them and
Mm,
have make a game out of it. So it was the first time we were seeing the gamification of these digital assets, and it was amazing. So that's like an early way of
absolutely.
seeing that.
It definitely, and it's funny because we do think of gaming a lot with NFTs, but there's a lot of other types. Like our first topic that we're going to talk about here is going to be about ticketing. And that is a very common way to use NFTs that's becoming super popular.
Yeah, it's all over the place, right? Like you can tell, well, see, even Live Nation owns a company called Yellowheart. So Yellowheart was the company that when some of the early NFTs that kind of came out were using that platform kind of like meet and greets with NFTs. You had that NFT, you download the album, we give you access to a concert and then give you access to the VIP area. So that was one way of, pushing out, those kind of early NFTs, and Live Nation and Ticketmaster are the largest ones in the game. So we're starting to test it out and see if they can, maybe they could have used the whole blockchain, or actually the blockchain would have came screeching halt with Taylor Swift and all those. Imagine like it just
Oh God.
doesn't work for certain, right? You couldn't have millions of people of these transactions. So you can tell too, like these systems that are in Web 2 that control all the internet, not everything moves over to Web 3, right? There's still going to be a lot of infrastructure and a lot of things that you're going to want to, transact on Web 2. Maybe some of those things, the NFTs would be like a special NFT for the tour that people could,
Hmm.
like, that would have been smart of Taylor Swift to offer maybe a POAP or maybe a unique NFT for this. The whole tour gets one little NFT. That would be cool
Yes.
to, you could have millions of
I mean,
those.
I
Yeah.
was just going to say, with the amount of tickets that she sold, imagine how many of them would be out there and how many fans would be interacting on a regular basis. I mean, obviously Swiftie fans are, they're pretty intense as it is, but any artist that does that, I mean, that you're going to get that person to come back and continue interacting with you. So it's in addition to giving them something, you're bringing them constantly back into your realm.
Yeah, and I know that they have marketing companies obviously that know how to kind of get the fans, to kind of come in their social media and that, but I find it's a way for them to, show that they're embracing new technologies and they're showing their fans because their fans all have
Mhm,
cell phones. They're all younger and they kind of think it's cool.
mhm.
Would it be cool to scan a Taylor Swift QR code and have a NFT
Mhm.
associated with her, an augmented reality or some
Yeah,
sort
take
of
your picture with
treat?
her. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
some sort of
Oh,
treat.
it's
So
amazing.
yeah, they're always working on it, but ticketing's a really big thing. Whether it's a big concert or whether it's a ticket just to like a supper, right? So there are unique NFTs where it's a VIP experience, and maybe they'll have special businessmen that'll come in and kind of high-end CEOs and that could be a one-off where if you buy this NFT, if you have that NFT, you go to the event, you still have that digital receipt. You still have that thing you can show people, hey, I was there. Right? I can
Mhm.
prove that I was there. So
And a lot of businesses are actually have started using that as a way with work from home to prove that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, most people scrambled, COVID hit, and everybody was, like, "Hey, work from home." Some people were thrown into a tizzy over it. Some people were like, "This is the greatest thing ever." Personally, love it.
I love
But
it.
there were things where you were supposed to go to a conference or you were supposed to attend something, and the only way for them to know that you actually did it was to have some proof. And so now a lot of places are incorporating these type of, whether it's a POAP or some sort of NFT proof that you were actually at the event. The only way
Right.
you can get it is to, there are milestones you have to hit. Sometimes it's like you need to be there at a certain point in the event, prove that you
Right.
were there. And other times it's like, they might put something in the world like, we're asking a question right now. You need to respond back with that answer in order to prove you actually got to the event and to get this POAP or NFT to prove you were there.
Yeah, look, like I work with brands, right? I work with Uncle Vinny and Naughty by Nature and kind of other ones. For them, the value of having somebody have that, it shows that like, hey, you care about our brand. Like you're gonna buy that specific or have that specific NFT, then we can create different events just for you. Because then we know that you're actually invested kind of in it and you can,
Mhm.
like I think it's a really good way to, give back direct to fans. That's how we do other kind of customers and other e-commerce stuff. Like this is a way to build community just on digital assets. Well, that's
Mhm.
amazing for artists to do stuff like that.
Well, and you mentioned last week when we were talking about learning, and you said, you're going to learn more when you enjoy what it is that you're doing, or if you feel
Right.
invested in what it is. So, if you're going to, let's say, a concert for someone that you really enjoy, you might not understand how to use NFTs. You might not understand digital wallets. You might not understand all this stuff, but you love that artist and you want that. So you'll put the work into it to, learn how to do what it is sometimes that you would maybe not do if it was, not something so exciting to you. So also, it's actually teaching them how to utilize normal technology nowadays that, was if, if you're an older person, perhaps you are, still computer shy. But,
Right.
if it's somebody that you really wanted to see, and that person's coming and this is the only way you can get backstage is to have this, you're going to ask your grandkid or someone to help you get that on your phone because you want to get backstage.
But now what's happening too is like companies that are Web3 companies actually starting to talk like us, and they're coming to us and they're saying, how do we do this without any friction? So you're allowed
Mm,
to onboard people with credit cards. So there's companies like MoonPay. There's people that are in between. So there's crypto in between and then like credit cards, fiat. So like
mhm,
enabling people like that to go through a credit card to have a digital collectible instead of an NFT. We know like some people when you say NFT, they're like, I don't know what that is. It's three letters. Like it's another geek kind of acronym that you guys are using and all this word. They get confused in that. So, but people know what digital collectibles are. They know what a collectible is, like a baseball card. I explain NFTs to, my uncle, kind of very simple. Explain to him what it was. He totally gets it because he
Yep.
sees that, hey, this is your baseball cards for these kids. It's digital files and stuff. That's it. And he knows that, like, hey, now these things can have code behind them, and they can have utility behind it. So you can actually, instead of these tickets, they're selling the collectibles, but they're selling ticketing that has value behind it so that you can log in after. Going to after the concert to see like footage. Imagine getting the
Yes.
NFT and going, now you get behind the scenes, get to see the green room, and or
Yes.
imagine the encore. Like, as an NFT holder, the concert they did in Philadelphia, now you get backstage and access to the encore that they did. It'd be cool, like, or access in VR instead of just a screen. So for
For
us,
sure.
we're in
Yeah.
the metaverse, we're in AltSpace, we're in Horizons, and so it'd be cool to have different types of media now. It's not just going to be, a picture. Now we want to have
Mhm.
experiences. So I think artists should open that up. Like,
Absolutely. There's a lot of potential there, and it's just it's not as overwhelming when you make it more like you were just saying. So the next topic that we're going to touch base on is gaming. We did mention last week when we had Miggy on here that he's big into gaming, and in a couple weeks we're actually going to have him on here to talk to us about a lot of the up and coming gaming NFT that's out there right now. But this is this is definitely, probably one of the most popular ones that's out there right now, most widely used because gaming is, what are we in right now? In essence, yeah, I know this is in an app versus a game, but it's, the Oculus headset or your computer, however it is that you're accessing this, it's a gaming platform.
right.
So, whether or not the app that you're using is an actual game app or a news app or however it is positioned, this is where most of the stuff is taking place right now on a day-to-day basis. You've got play to earn, play to win. You've got lots of different platforms in there.
Yeah, gaming is really big, right? Like the Fortnite and kind of those types of games that are really like multiplayer and just huge, big, huge ecosystems, Roblox and Minecraft, like that's enabling, thousands and thousands of people to play at the same time, and to use all these assets, whether it's new weapons or new abilities or new potions, now that with NFTs, they could possibly integrate where some of the players actually own these assets instead of just their account, because we know like all these games they build accounts and the accounts own those assets, but if that server goes down, if the game gets switched, if you lose your account, like you want to lose all these points and hours and just time that you put in to acquire all these different levels or different whatever. Now maybe that NFT could get upgraded as you pass different levels. The NFT gets upgraded so you never have to go back. Boy, I tell you, the young kid in me, the 8-year-old playing Atari and having no save or no nothing, like it's just night and day, like come on. Kids are way spoiled with these dynamic NFTs, I guess, right? So let's
Oh,
see.
absolutely. And I
Yeah.
mean, you have the crossover too with a lot of the augmented reality. Like, look at Pokemon. I mean,
I love it.
when the
Yeah.
Pokemon Go was the thing, and everybody was walking around outside taking pictures with their phone, and it was
Yep.
like, you half the people going, "What? This is crazy. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? What are they seeing?" And then you actually see it, and you're like, "Oh my God, there's actually like something there when you look through your screen, but it's not there." I mean, that was really exciting when that came out. It was very different, and it was, it was an exciting thing that everybody could kind of take part in. Depending on the games, like you talked about, you might have whether it's clothing or weaponry or different spells and potions. Some games, give out different things. So it depends on the type of game that you're playing. But, that can kind of bridge that gap between people who maybe you're not in the shoot 'em up games. I know I'm personally not a
Right.
big fan of those
Yeah. I think.
because I'm not really dexterous. But anybody could do the Pokemon. Anybody can walk around and do things like that, or if you go into a game and you it's a fashion game, a shopping game, and you're buying these different clothes in the game to dress up your avatar. I mean, these are things that you can potentially have as NFTs that you can, there are some programs that are working right now so that you'd be able to cross platform them between other games. You might have an outfit in one that you could bring into another in the future,
Right.
which is going to be
Right.
exciting. You create this avatar look right now. I don't know, how many of you play across different platforms, but you obviously know the look of the AltSpace avatar and the look of a Horizon avatar are night and day. I mean, they do not look the same. Whether you like the Horizon
Hmm?
or the AltSpace one, they're very different. And you go into VR chat and everybody's wearing anime as avatars.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody's got something different, but there could come a point where, Ready Player Me is trying to do something similar to that, where they have,
Love him.
go in,
Yep.
make your avatar, and you can bring it to certain platforms, but still not across all of them. We might get to that point one day when this avatar that I see in front of me as Pixel is the exact same avatar in every program that we go into. And so I always know you when I see you. We could get to that
Well,
point.
it's yeah, but there's good and bad against that too. The other side of the coin is that, we able to the expressiveness, right? To be able to uh, be any character or be
True.
any, whether it's gender or animal or kind of anything, your creativeness can be any style of avatar in other worlds, but we have a lot of, expressiveness in alt space and be able to diversity and be able to change kind of all that. And that's good
Hmm.
that, Microsoft did that. And Horizon's going to do similar, and these other ones, but it'll be about the I think it's the wearable. I think it's the fashion too, like you said, that
Yes.
makes
The
it different.
clothes.
Where I love these NFT projects where you can have the NFT as a avatar and build on top, and you can create NFT projects that are just the wearables. To me, that's awesome. Like, and you don't need permission for that. Like that's the killer part. Okay, if you learn 3D modeling or you learn some sort of design, or even in there's one called the Sculpt VR, or like you can kind of form 3D objects, kind of gravity VR,
Okay.
and it's awesome. Gravity Sketch, you can kind of
Oh,
create
Gravity
all these
Sketch I've
different.
used, yes.
Yeah, like if you do that, you can create that for other avatars and sell that as an NFT collection. That's a job. Like you work 8 hours a day, you think, come back for a few hours a night, all of a sudden you're making extra money. And I think that's what the permissionless and the openness
Hmm.
of Web3, that's what it enables.
For sure. I mean, that's a great, topic of conversation that you just brought up about, you work all day and you work all night, but the job that you're doing at night, you're loving because you're creating exciting things. You know, you're expressing yourself, but you're also you could be taking custom orders to help other people get what they want as well. So that goes back
Sure.
to the opportunities that there are within the metaverse for monetizing. If you're, doing the right avenue. You've got to pick what you enjoy doing, whether it's world building, clothing, design, however
Yeah.
it works out. But yeah, for sure. I mean, there's if you're going to spend so many hours in here, might as well be productive at it too.
Like, I swear, like you could be anything in the real world and convert that to the metaverse. You could literally
Hmm.
be a woodworker, creates wood tables. You could come in VR and create those and sell those for like meta houses. And imagine doing that both sides. Like most people will have, you can sell stuff in the real world and they don't know how to do it yet. They're going to meet, people like us. They're going to meet the community and they're going to come in and find all these new ways to make money. And it'll be like, I had no idea. And be like, it's amazing. You can sell it 24 hours a day, worldwide, all the time, all these assets.
Mhm.
Good. Brings us
So
to, you want to move into
virtual
real
real
estate.
estate.
Yeah.
Yes. So let me ask you a question because this is me because I'm still learning, and and this is why we do what we do so that everybody can learn. When
Yep.
I first heard about virtual real estate, and Decentraland and programs like that, so I'm thinking, okay, you're buying a piece of real estate that's within the app. Everybody's
Yep.
got a little, their own little block. If it's a community of 500 houses, you own your little piece of real estate within that. And there can be, could have very different values. If you live in a penthouse, it's going to be worth more than if you live in the little shack down the end of the road. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
That all makes sense. But now I'm hearing things like in real life, it like your deed to your house and different documents and stuff like that are being are going to be done as NFTs because it's a digital object. Okay, they're making the deeds into that, but I'm hearing that actual real estate in real life is actually getting sold as NFTs.
Yeah. So it's complicated, right? There's different levels to this. So there are like, so there's virtual real estate, there's decentralized real estate, then there's centralized kind of real estate. So, and then
Mhm.
there's free kind of stuff that you can buy, and then there's ones that, like Decentraland, like you said, it's crypto, where it's crypto enabled. You have to buy it in ETH, then you own a certain plot, you kind of earn, but that plot can be empty. Some of these are empty, and you have to build what you build for your brand. So in Decentraland, you get to build, your own penthouse, like you said, or you can build a lake, just like in AltSpace, where you can build your own world, but
Mhm.
you're only allowed to build in that certain area that you buy. You can buy different parcels and connect them, and then you get a bigger land. So like
Mhm.
Activision and like Atari, like big companies were going into Centraland and buying up a lot of, digital real estate so that they could build their own brand and have like a gaming thing like this, where they could go in and
Okay.
kind of teach the world, and that's all good. But you have other ones that it's more for, you know, Sandbox is selling them, but it's NFTs that are used on their kind of platform. So it's, you're buying them to create, and you can actually create games where the community can, you can create to earn money. You can earn kind of crypto. So within Sandbox, people were buying close to Snoop Dogg and buying around and buying all these little areas so
Okay.
that they could get the community to come in, and they could build these little games or build kind of a hangout or whatever with different wearables and different NFTs. People, it's all about the brand itself. So if you brand your game, then you can kind of input them. Those, the virtual kind of the digital real estate took a big crash because, ETH took a big crash, and a lot of the
Mhm.
investment, people were overpaying, right? Like it depends on the market. The market was going up so high, people, the valuations were so high. Like Decentraland had such, like I heard it was a $2 billion market cap, like, for all of that. So
That's
it's really the
huge.
value that you, and that's a lot, right? Like, and I can understand your investors, employees, like they're putting that much money, but it's about future proofing your brand, making sure that you have a spot in the metaverse, right? Like, and you can do that in multiple ways. Whether it's buying NFTs and being on that platform, or coming into AltSpace or coming into Horizons and doing it that way. You're owning your own digital real estate. You're owning your own. You don't have to pay for it, but you're opening it up so that your brand can come in as a 3D immersive world.
Okay. All right. So that translates over into real life, with like the house in North Carolina that sold as an
Yeah.
NFT. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so there's platforms that people can do that. There's, that, right? There's all these new platforms all the time that people are like, "Hey, we're going to digitize and make it an NFT and do," and that's fine if that, as long as
Mhm.
it's a legit business and they're a legit kind of, they have good credentials, they're doing it out in
O-
the open, then that to me, that's a good startup. That's a good innovative, we're going to take these deeds and digitize them and add them on the blockchain so that everyone can see them. It's honestly, City, it's about what what ecosystem did they build? How easy is it for the people to put it up on as an NFT, the people to buy it? Are they doing something to take care of the price? You can't have the price when you deal with real world assets. Meaning, like, people don't want to get paid their money in Ethereum because it could go down $100, in a few hours,
A
and
day.
you
Yeah.
lost all. So there's platforms that maybe will take that ETH and convert it to something like a stable coin, and then you're able to move that stable coin into your account, and you're able to watch that. So that could be a lot, a lot of different situations like that.
So, our next topic is about fashion, art, and music, which we did touch on a little bit earlier, but it's actually, there's a fair amount to go over within this platform, within this topic. So, you talked about wearables. You talked about, how important that is, which we know that's the fun part of everything. But
Oh yeah,
there's also, when it falls under fashion, there's also like fashion designers are doing a lot with NFTs in the real world as well as within here. So you have real world luxury goods. We talked about Nike, putting the dot swoosh out there so you can design things and then potentially they can create that and you can have it
right.
in real life as well. So there is a lot of cross platform there. And then you obviously have the virtual outfits we wear in here, but it's so for those of you who are not familiar with Ryuzaki, I mean, when he's not doing NFTs, but he should be, his outfits, we can find pictures of things that we like online and we can show them to him and he can completely recreate that into an outfit
Amazing.
for you to wear. And I have whole bunch of clothes. Most of the people here have clothes from him, whether it's or 10 outfits that you have. I mean, those all could be NFTs. So
Oh,
I mean, there
absolutely.
is and there is opportunity to do that within here right now, and on other platforms as well. So I mean that's interesting.
Yeah, it's taking the like there's a lot of fashion lines, right? Like we've been so for the last it's 50, 60 years, everyone's been coming out with all these different styles and clothes and streetwear and dresses and that. And they have been, people have been putting them in video games and kind of commercials and that. So now with CGI and just the clothing and different simulations and like you can do some crazy things with the software. So whether it's Blender or Marvelous Designer or Substance Painter, where they're adding all the textures and all the different designs, like those being
Mhm.
able to create on the avatars. But like you said, there are certain platforms, but the avatars themselves, you can use those in the marketing. It made
Mhm.
marketing one of our artists that we have for Illtown Slug, Ryan Lane. He's now we're gonna take a digital twin and bring him into the metaverse. Well, he wanted his own clothes, right? He wanted his own look, his own outfit. So I was able to kind of
Sure.
create the mesh and create his own clothing so that he can use it as marketing. Not necessarily in these worlds because it might be a little bit different. In his all his marketing for promo, could actually have these wearables. So it's good for companies that even if you have a clothing line where you make hoodies or you make like t-shirts, make
Mhm.
those as digital and then start using them in like digital twins. Start using them in like promo on Instagram and TikTok and that because that'll stand out. Like I've been following Stovert's lead for months, right? He's been
Mm.
shouting from the top, like, hey, you got to create these avatars and you got to make them your own personal, so that's what we've been doing for the last like few months is working on artists and helping other people digitize themselves and come into the metaverse and hopefully make some promos. But that shows that you could create these NFTs and you could create all of a sudden like D Nice have your own collection.
Yes.
So
Of the collection, and he's got a bunch of collections going on now. I mean, they're all being, promoted for charity, but he's got,
yeah,
he has that one piece. He's got the line of clothing. Everybody has access to it if you're interested in buying it.
yeah,
And you can, you even have the option on some of them. Like for instance, if it's one of the, actually this outfit that I'm wearing right now, Lou has it on as well over there, but she has hers with a little bit of artwork on it, and it's like, so
right.
you can take that and you can personalize it and then it's yours, so
Well,
but
there's
you
actually
have
a
the
yeah, I've been following that you might have been seeing. Like, you can tell you get ideas in these metaverse, and like they go with
mm,
it. So we have a friend like this second Larry VR kind of guy, and he
yes.
started doing the chains. And started doing jewelry, like watches a little bit, and all of a
Yep.
sudden now it's just snowballed into this big. He's got a whole custom jewelry kind of world. You go in and you pick all your jewelry, and now he's doing custom ones for D Nice, and I think that's
Mm,
amazing. I think people that can, design something, have ideas, connect with certain people, and all of a sudden now they could create those, like you said, as wearables and as NFTs, and then they have collections and they're building brand. Amazing.
mean, the reality is that, you buy an outfit in here because some people come on and why am I going to spend money? The game is free, the app is
Right.
free. Why am I going to spend money on clothing? Well, you spend so much time in here that why not? If I bought this outfit in the real world, I might wear it once a month. In here, I'm wearing it over and over and over, getting its use out of it.
Are you
You
saying that I
actually
need a
spend
new
more
out?
time in your clothing in the metaverse than you do in your clothing in real life. So
Sure.
it's worth the money if you want to spend money on that. So don't let people shame you into, you could just be wearing the AltSpace closet. Some people want to, some people don't go out at night, don't go to nightclubs, don't go out to eat and do all those other things. This is where they're spending their time. If they want to spend money on an outfit in here, they're going to enjoy when they go to events and get dressed up. There's nothing wrong with that.
City,
This is your entertainment value.
always making fun of my like simple plain black clothes. I got no style. I know I need new
That's your
outfits.
style. That's your
I
style.
need new outfits. I need to like be more flashy. I get it.
You
I
need
know.
to create outfits. Create your outfits. I want to see what you can come up with.
My hair's blue, okay? In real life, my hair's not blue. I don't walk around with blue hair. So this is wild side.
My hair is purple.
It's purple in real life. I believe it.
Real life, my hair is purple. I got you there.
Yeah. From arts, and we talked about the different NFT, the music NFTs. We've talked about music NFTs. We've talked about
Yes.
how you download them and you can either keep them on OpenSea and you can play them right on OpenSea, or you download the music. We had another website. You can use the NFT as a token to be able to get
Mm.
into a VIP area of a website that has
Mhm.
special music. So there's a lot of utility around all the music, and
Mhm.
they're really kind of pushing it out there for Web3. There's a lot of
One thing I
platforms.
I do want to touch on one thing under art that some people in here might not realize too. We did an interview with an NFT artist, Mommy Nature, and one of the things that she was utilizing NFTs with her artwork was that she's like a painter. Not, she actually creates physical art, and she was creating these beautiful pieces of artwork and then selling them. And she was, sad that she was giving up the piece of art that she created because it was so beautiful and she loved it. So NFTs gave her the platform to take her physical piece of artwork, turn it into a digital asset, sell these out to people because her work is beautiful and people wanted it. So she's selling
Awesome.
the digital asset. She gets to retain her initial piece of artwork that she created. So
Nice.
that's, it's not the typical way that people are using NFTs. What a great way for her to experience both worlds of, the digital and the physical in her artwork and be able to appreciate it both ways and share it with the world at the same time.
Hey, you got to imagine that like the world's changing so fast that like some people have art in their house, but other people have
Mhm.
some TVs that they're displaying kind of their art and NFTs. So there are systems that you can buy now that are, you want to have a digital, art kind of theater kind of the showcase so
Yes,
people are doing that and they're bringing their NFTs because that's some of the coolest art that they're finding, or whether it's AI generated or whether it's personalized, it's yours, so you can create like a
absolutely.
playlist of your art. Instead of having one static piece, now you're having a digital art where it's NFTs and you can just rotate them.
Like a
Oh, and the big
slideshow, it just
flex
keeps going
is,
through.
yeah,
Mm.
and the flex is, look, man, I have this cool kind of, these NFTs, and I can show them off maybe in the real world, but also in the metaverse. Later on, we'll be able to have these, or hopefully our home worlds be a lot more elaborate, where we can design it ourselves and do what we can in alt space. But I mean, maybe in Oculus or maybe in the entire
Sure.
kind of thing, and have NFTs bring them in our house, right? Like that's the goal.
Absolutely. This takes us into a different topic. Um, we're looking at fundraising. So NFTs have become so popular that people are now using them as fundraising incentives. So there's different ways that people are using it. Some people are literally like raffling off an NFT. Like we have an NFT, we're raffling this off. Everybody buy tickets, and that they're using it to raise funds that way. Other
Yeah.
ways that they're using it is, is an incentive for, if you're the highest, say you're selling candy bars for an organization, so the person who sells the most is going to get this NFT, so that they're starting to use it creatively to generate more revenue. But the person who's generating the most revenue is actually getting something in return, which is exciting.
Yeah.
It's no different than, little kids in school, and, they have to raise X amount of money, and the kid who gets the most gets a gift card to Amazon, or he gets, some little, well, it used to be like these little, trinkets and things that they would win if they got the most. Now they're actually getting something that has value going forward. That's pretty
So
exciting too.
so here's my opinion when it comes to like fundraising and money and like securities and kind of everything. We want to be really open here where you know,
Hmm.
you're going to have to do your due diligence and find the right platforms that have the credentials to put on these sort of
Absolutely.
things. So just like you're doing in Web 2, just like you do now, if you do a fundraiser in real life, you have to make sure you have the right licenses, that if you say you're going to give it to charity, you actually do, that everything's so now that all gets multiplied now in crypto and in Web 3 and all that, because there's a lot of apprehension behind, like you can get scammed behind certain things like
Of
that
course.
because it's easier. So now, like if you want to do something like that, I suggest you do your research, find a good platform that allows you to, vet certain people, be very open and transparent, show them all the transactions and the how many NFTs, how many you're going to sell and everything, and tell
Mhm.
the people that are buying these NFTs when there's support, go on the website and you can see exactly where I transferred
Yes.
all of the money that you gave us to this wallet, stuff like that. I know it sounds like little, and I know maybe like people won't think of it. But I tell you 1,000,000%. If you do stuff like that, you do it the right way where you're open and transparent,
Yes.
then people will trust you. They'll trust your brand, and then they'll be more willing to kind of like help you do certain things like this. But you got to make sure that you do within the right law, right? You can't raise certain money to kind of get a company when it's a thing and it's all of a sudden you just did a security. You just created a token and sold it, and you got to make sure
Mm.
if it's an NFT, you're working with professional people that understand business, the
Yes.
financial, and the it's just common sense. But I
Of
think we
course.
wanna we
Mhm.
wanna teach that lesson, to people looking around online to if they're raising money, but there's good ways of doing it, like you said, with these digital tokens to um, more people instead of going door to door to sell your chocolate for the kids, you're able to do this NFT and spread it out on the internet. As long as you do
Mhm.
it with a platform that is, like I said, transparent and really open and trusted.
Just like with everything, you want to make sure you do your homework ahead, do your research, do
Absolutely.
your homework, and everything that we tell you is always about what is out there as options. But as far as what you actually get involved in, you want to make sure that you've gone through, you've researched it on your own, you figured
Yeah,
out what is right for you. But we're just showing you everything that is out there and is available to you.
sure. And that way, like we know that we and maybe he the think what the city said, and maybe I'm
Mhm.
going to look in a little bit deeper, and if that saves you a little bit of money or some kind of mistake, then that's great. So
Yeah. I mean, who's the artist too? I mean, that matters too if you're not looking at it as just a collectible item. If you're looking at it
sure,
like this is a pretty piece of art that I want, fine. But if you're looking at it as something of any value, look into who it is, and how this is being
perfect.
created. Is it a one of one? Is it part of a collection? Does it have any utility built into the NFT that you're actually receiving? I mean, is it something? I mean, not that people are going to give away, a board, but if it was something like that where it had a back end utility built in, that gave you something even more, how exciting would that be? Then you better be working for that fundraising to get to the top.
Well, you made a good point, and I want to kind of stress this too, even about all these NFTs. You have to do your research into these people. Like these people shouldn't be anonymous. Like if I'm selling NFTs and you can find me on my website. You should find my IRL, like my person. my webs like my real name and all that stuff should be real. Like you shouldn't be it
Mm.
shouldn't be so spooky and anonymous to where if I'm gonna
Mhm.
give you money, you're gonna give me something. I at least want to know like maybe not where you live or what your family is, but at least that you're a reputable person online. Go and
Yes.
Google my name and Google who I work with and who I've been, and then you ask around. That's how you invest in an NFT project, right? Like
Mhm.
it shouldn't be like this person online that I couldn't even dig into. I couldn't even Google them or look on Twitter or look anywhere. Like you should be able to kind of do some research generally on them.
Absolutely. And obviously, you mentioned Twitter. A lot of these NFT artists that are on Twitter that are talking about their drops that are coming out and look at their followings too. I mean,
Sure.
a lot of them have huge followings, but when they're regularly interacting and they're putting their artwork out there and they're showing, hey, this is what's coming up, or hey, yeah, there's a lot of stuff on Twitter where it's just chit chat. That's part of what Twitter is. But the real good NFT artists are out there and they're showing their artwork. They're also a lot of times there are other NFT artists who are dropping into their feed and
Yep.
giving them other links and stuff. They're oftentimes they're telling you the history about the piece of art that they created so that you understand what they were feeling when they were creating it. So you actually get to know the artist. So
For sure. Twitter's a real good one. And like I said, their Discord channel. If they go on
mm,
Twitter to their official Twitter, and if they have a Discord and everybody's in there talking, you're gonna find some awesome NFT people, or not. Maybe you'll find some young kids kind of, playing, but it's go and see what the feeling, what the vibe is about this artist, right? Even ask how old is the artist? How long has he been doing? People will tell you everything. People will tell you kind of what the engagement is, like you said. Able to tell
mm,
like is it just did they buy their followers or did they earn their community, right? And you can tell by the
sure.
length. Some of the utility of these of an NFT is hold. If you hold it, since you bought it, maybe we could give you something extra. So
Mhm.
that's a real good way of, you supported me from the start. You held one of my NFTs and it's now years later, you still have that.
Yes.
I trust you. Now you're going to get access to something amazing because you did that. That could be it.
And that that you is actually no different than real artwork artwork in real
Sure.
life. Because I collect artwork for a specific artist that I enjoy very much. All of his pieces are limited. He only has X amount for every piece that he does. And one of the pieces that I have is very well sought after. And I have been offered 3 times what I've paid for this piece of artwork multiple times by different people. So people want this piece of artwork. This piece of artwork to me actually means something. I'm not getting rid of it because I want this piece of artwork. And the artist actually sent me a message one time thanking me for that and said, I appreciate the fact that you kept my piece of artwork despite the fact you were getting all these offers. It shows me that you really liked it. And then I went to a meet and greet that he was having a signing where you could bring your artwork. And he actually did a doodle for me on the back of the artwork. So I have that now because he was like, oh, the guy, this is the piece everybody wanted that you wouldn't give up. And he drew on it the back of it for me. So now it's worth even more. So that's, tangible, but, it's the same type of concept as what you're saying, Pixel.
Absolutely. Well, that's kind of
So we
it's
get
about
to some other
finding your
uses,
finding
like,
your one, right?
yeah, absolutely. We have a few other uses that we kind of lumped in here. These might not be the most popular uses, but these are also ways that people are utilizing NFTs. And we talked a little bit about token drops earlier. Whitelisting for events. There are sometimes when people who own an NFT will actually, get access to the whitelisting for the events ahead of time.
Mhm.
Meet and greets for sure. I mean, we talked about that too. You have this NFT or this POAP, you can get backstage access. You can get a private meet and greet. And sometimes at the meet and greets, they're actually giving out NFTs as well.
It's a new way for artists to kind of, you'd have to work with your management, and sometimes you can work with the tour. So the tour can kind of facilitate that because if you have that NFT, then it has to get burnt, right? Like
Mhm.
there's a, we always talk about NFTs and transferring. There's a whole different platform there are a lot of different code that these NFTs can have so that they can get burnt, meaning like
Mhm.
just disappear on the blockchain, right? There are get you so that if it's like for food, you can have food NFTs you give out at a festival, like you're redeeming pretty much you're redeeming these NFTs. But just that word, it's nice and easy in Web 2. It's probably a little bit more complicated on Web 3 when you have to like go to the blockchain and kind of but that's good. It allows you to teach that and there's platforms that can do that, but I like that there's that system, right? Of okay, now you have it and you got used and now you don't. So
Yes. It's just like a redemption code on a coupon. Once it's scanned, it's gone.
right. No, it's exciting.
And then a couple of the other things that people are using it now, NFTs for voting rights. So, within an organization or within a community, even like a Board Ape Yacht Club type thing, where somebody has, this NFT that gives them the right to vote within that community.
Sure. And like a lot of projects now are you say I want to listen to my fans or I want to listen to the customers. There's no other way besides like this is the ultimate way because you're literally having them vote. So on Twitter, you could say, Elon did, different polls on Twitter. What do you think this? And people will vote. But when you have that NFT that gives you that right, then you know that every single vote is actually like warranted, right? It's not just there's no bots, there's no, you're going to
Absolutely.
secure it a lot more, obviously.
Mm,
And you want to do what that vote says. Maybe it'll be about enabling a different feature, or it'll be about, are the roadmap. Do we want to do this, or do we want to concentrate on, avatars or something specific? Do you guys want cars, or do you want puppies? Does everybody get a puppy in the community, or
Everybody gets a
we all want to
puppy.
have Lambos? And yeah, you know how it
Yes.
is. You know what you're voting. Puppies.
That brings us to the top of the hour. We have a couple minutes for questions. Next week,
Sure.
we're going to be doing something really exciting. Remember, we're doing our POAP contest right now for whoever's collecting them. You starting a couple weeks ago, you have to have all of them by the end of the year to get your NFT. I know there's a couple people in here who are collecting, but next week we are actually going to do a live demonstration of creating a POAP. So if any of you are interested in creating POAPs in the future for your events, we're going to actually create one. I'm going to create it up on stage. I'll do it up on the screen so you can all watch. And what I will do is after the event, I will actually post in our Discord, which hopefully you guys have all joined. I know some of you have. But we're going to post in there the instructions with screenshots so you'll understand how to do it. But let's open up the floor if anybody has questions. We have a few minutes.
Can't wait for this NFT. That they really have no idea what it's going to be, what it's going to be used for, but that'll be the great
Right?
surprise. It'll
It's
be
going to be
like,
so
wow,
exciting. So for those of you who
so
are
excited.
collecting, miss it.
We have a question or comment from Wine Chick. Go ahead, Wine Chick.
Yes, hi. Um,
Hi.
you dropped the word whitelist. What does that mean? Somebody said you go and collect the whitelist of an event.
Oh, no, no, you wouldn't
So
collect the whitelist. It would give you access for whitelisting before something hits.
yeah,
What is
so
whitelisting?
okay, so when you create an NFT project, you can have a whitelist that are certain addresses. So let's say that you were doing a NFT drop for a certain project or certain product. If you had already like emails or you already had a certain kind of collection of people or fans or NFTs, you could whitelist them so that they could get the NFT first. So it
Mhm.
just means
Ah,
it's like a enable list or a special list that gives them access to this before you go on the public sale. So if you were gonna
Like a
like
oh,
do a
pre-sale.
big drop, yeah, you could have special treatment ahead of the line, pretty much ahead of the
Mhm.
line before
oh,
everybody
how
else. You're gonna be
interesting.
on my whitelist.
Mhm.
Okay, interesting. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Next up, we have Jerry. Go ahead, Jerry.
How's it going again?
Hey, Jerry.
Uh,
Good, Jerry.
hey, how's it going? So yeah, and just to kind of touch on the white list, it definitely is. If you look at it more as a like a VIP list, exclusive list. That's exactly what it is. Kind of get you in at the underneath in the basement, not even at the ground floor, in the basement.
Mhm.
So you'll get first dibs and everything at everything. So yeah. One other thing I wanted to kind of add to it, NFTs, because for a lot of NFTs is smart contracts, I believe, like connected to it, so people can get paid. If they sell a picture or photo or something like that, and whenever that particular picture or photo is paid, you also can get paid or get some type of percentage
Hmm.
back from that sale, no matter how many hands it goes through. So you
Mhm.
always get um, like
Royalty.
Royalty.
a royalty to it. Correct.
Mhm.
Also, if people look at NFTs, just look at it as it perform like a function, right? Can it can do certain things that it's not even about like pictures and stuff like that. It's so many other functions depending how you write it. It can perform. Also,
Right.
like if you go to, I believe it's going to be used in like the DMV. Like she mentioned voting and everything else like that, but also like in the DMV setting,
Well, we
like
talked
if you
about the
go
housing deeds. Yeah.
yeah, housing deeds, licenses, and one day they might say, "Hey, pull
Mhm.
out your NFT." It might be a license connected to everything, and
Mhm.
it
And your
verifies
passport.
that you are correct. Right. So yeah. So I mean, whatever you want that function to do, via smart contracts or whatever it may be. You never know whatever you can come up with. Even, I've seen NFT wine chick. So funny. I've seen I've heard of NFTs where they keep track of these rare wines, and if ounces were
Nice.
sold, they put that on the blockchain, things of sort like that. So they keep
Interesting.
so the rarity of that wine go up in value because some of it was sold in whatever state or whatever. So I mean that might be a thing that might be more popularized in the future.
Tracking is big in many industries. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Mhm.
Next up, we have Metaday. Go ahead, Metaday.
Hey y'all, I'm sorry,
Hey,
apologies
yo.
for
Hey,
being
Meta.
late. Hey, to add on to what Jerry said, also, I cannot wait till the day when NFTs can be on your medical record form. That will
Yes.
work great with college students as well as
Mhm.
those who travel abroad. You just pull out your
Mhm.
NFT. You don't have to worry about, you have all your immunizations, all your healthcare records right
Absolutely.
there instead of having it shipped from, especially if you're out of country. Say, God forbid, something happened out of the country, you got to go through all these channels just to get the medical records. God forbid your medical records are 10, 20 years old. So then you got to go find that from some warehouse. So once the NFTs are in married healthcare records, that's going to be a phenomenal thing. But
Mhm.
that is not my question. My question is, if you had a dream, if there was a dream NFT that you would want to see created, what would it be?
You want to answer first?
No, I want you to answer first. That's a great question.
You put me on the spot.
I want to
Tried to
think.
deflect that so gently.
I want to think to have a better answer. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So when you kind of mentioned travel, so I travel a few times a year. I go to different places outside the country, and I would love to see some sort of an NFT where it could it's almost acting like a passport, but more in that it geo tracks where you've been with imagery of the places you went to, so that I could pull out my NFT and I could say, here I am at Tabacon Hot Springs in Costa Rica. And, it marks that I was there, and it actually gives me a little visual of what that spot looked like, whether it's the longitude, latitude, something along those lines. I think that would be really cool for those who travel. And like I said, I go a few different places a year. I would love to be able to sit back and be like, oh, here's my history. You used to get stamps in your passports. They don't stamp your passport anymore. So you don't get those. So you lose that. I mean, the last 5 times I've traveled out of the country, I have not got a stamp because everything is automated. You go through the little kiosk and you're done. So, that was kind of like your little, like we talk about POAPs being your
Yep.
ticket to say that you were there, like a ticket stub. Well, your passport was your ticket stub saying you visited these places. So now you don't get that anymore. I would absolutely love to be able to have some sort of a digital asset that shows me where I was and what it looked like. I think that would be cool.
And mine is like an ultimate music concert NFT. So like, if Lollapalooza had an NFT that I could buy and I can sit in with my VR and I can experience 360 VR at the front and center of all my favorite artists on the whole tour. Something cool like that where it's like, this is what I want. Like I know you want me to go on tour and go to all these ones, but I want to support, these artists and I want to be immersed into these experiences. Like we do the holoportation and all that. We love that. That's just great technology to kind of connect with your fans. So I would want a killer NFT kind of VIP experience for some concerts, and I think that would be to
That'd be
sit back
great.
and just be like, "This is great," like,
That'd be so fun.
Yep.
Love it.
We have a question from Kip. Go ahead, Kip.
Thank you. Well, I need the the Crypto City Discord. Want to get into
Okay.
the Discord.
So if you go to our Instagram, there's a link tree at the top that has all of our socials on there, including Discord. But if you want, you can meet up with me afterwards, and I can tell you where to go to get onto it. But we'd love to have you on there. What I'm trying to do is update that pretty regularly with resources. We're going to put up the slides from the different shows because a lot of people
sure.
you see the slides, but it'd be helpful to have them later on as a referral. We do have a YouTube with all of these episodes up on the YouTube that you can go to and rewatch them.
Yes.
And so, also the slides sometimes on the I do flip over to the slides sometimes during the recordings, but it's a lot easier if you actually have the slides to look at. So I've been putting those up on the Discord as well. And then there's also spots on there, we want to hear from you. So if you have a question that you want it answered, you can put it on there. If you have an idea for a topic for a show, throw it up there and we'll look at it. And if it makes sense, we'll put together a show to talk about that topic.
Guys, got it.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nice. Good deal.
All right.
I am here
Thank
now
you.
on the page. Thank you.
Thank you. Did it. All right.
Okay. We just have time for one more.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Joanne. Joanne.
Okay.
Muted. There you
Yep.
go.
Can you hear me? Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I am in need of hiring an NFT consultant with the level of information that you seem to hold. Where do you think I should go for that? What kind of resources or locations do you think where I might find somebody like that?
We
I
can
tried
talk,
on Upwork,
Joanne. Yeah.
and they don't
Don't
have
worry.
it.
We should talk, Joanne. You've been here for weeks and weeks, and following along and keeping up with that. So yeah, if you want to talk after, we can talk about your project.
Okay.
Of
Cool.
course.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. As always, we appreciate it, especially on a Monday. I know Monday can be a long day, but we appreciate you coming in here to learn with us. And we're really excited about next week. Don't forget, we'll be having experience. Let's call it the POAP experience. But we're
Sure.
going to create one and you're going to get to see it. And it's actually going to be the POAP for next week's show. So we'll create it on the show. It'll go through. That means that when I send them out the following day to the people who ask for them, you might get it a little later in the day. It does take time for them to get approved and generated. That's all stuff that we will talk about next week. But
Sure.
that's what we're going to do next week, and that'll be fun.
Good stuff, City. Be fun. Thanks everybody for showing up. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming out. Thank you. Hopefully see you next week.
And
Intro music.
I am still working on that.
So every time it just seems like it's like